Welcome to Sports Talk, your weekly source for Hazleton area high school football here on WILN, brought to you by the Lehigh Valley Orthopedic Institute. I'm Marty Burns. I'll be joined this evening by head coach Dennis Buchman of the Hazleton area football Cougars and a special guest from the Cougar football team. We'll have time out with Dr. John, look back to a tough road loss against Williamsport and the regular season finale in the big rivalry game as the Cougars will go to George Curry Way and Crispin Field to take on the Berwick Bulldogs. We'll have it all this week on Sports Talk.
Sports Talk is presented in cooperation with Lehigh Valley Health Network, Hazleton.
Welcome back to Sports Talk, your weekly source for Hazleton area high school football here on WILN. As always, it's brought to you by the Lehigh Valley Orthopedic Institute. I'm Marty Burns, joined once again by Hazleton area head football coach Dennis Buchman. And coach, a tough loss. Sometimes it's one of those losses where you just have to tip your hat to the other team when you lose in the closing seconds on a 45-yard field goal. At this level, a 45-yard field goal is very hard to come by, no matter where you're looking throughout the state.
Absolutely. Connor Poole, the kicker for Williamsport, he was the X factor on Friday night for them. Whether it was flipping fields, I mean, there were times we started 2 possessions inside our own 1-yard line from punts of his. There were times where their offensive drives stalled around midfield, and he was able to pin us inside our 10-yard line. He hit the game-winning field goal with about 9 seconds left in the game, 45-yarder, and it would have been good, honestly, from probably about 50 or 55. The kid's just, he's really impressive, has an electric leg. But, it's the thing, too, and we talk about it all the time, when you go on the road, especially, you have to be able to take care of the football, and you have to value possessions. And, we did that in spurts, but, some of the mistakes we made were magnified on the night. And when you have a kid like that, and basically from the plus 30 and in, you're going to get points, it's certainly a weapon to have.
And I guess as we still have one game left, and we mentioned that we'll talk about Berwick a little bit later on, but as you look to next season and you look back at this season, is one of the things that you can address with your team is, once again, Friday night you built a lead, that now we have to learn how to finish a football game. And instead of losing these heartbreakers, we come away with solid W's.
Sure. 5 games this year have been decided by 7 points or less. 2 of those games by 3 points. So certainly, first of all, I'm so proud of our kids, our program, everything that they have done, continue to do, will do. It's truly remarkable from that standpoint. But certainly there are levels to this, and we've battled through a lot of adversity this year, and we never give in, never give up, never quit, and you continue to see the progression of a lot of our players here. But, much like in our first year, where we had to learn to not only just win games, but how to win those games in terms of playing with a lead, being able to maintain possession of the football in certain scenarios, or making a big stop and winning on the road, all those types of things. We know we're going to get there, and it's just it's an incredible accomplishment for our seniors. All they've done the last few years in our program, I'm so proud of them. But certainly we have to be able to now, such as Friday night, we go up 21-7 after our first possession of the second half, and then Williamsport slowly starts coming back, and it's a 21-21 game. We have possession of the football with 3.5 minutes left, and we feel we let one slip away once again there. But as I said, it's no fault of anybody but me. Our players continue to do an incredible job. Our coaches, just really, really proud of them.
And I'll do some name dropping, as last week I had an opportunity to go check out some field hockey at Bloomsburg University, and as he was going into practice, ran into former Cougar Matthew Buchman himself. And one of the things, in just a quick conversation with him before he got to practice, he had mentioned to me, and I paraphrase it because I can't remember the exact quote he gave me, but he said, we went through that where we had to have our growing pains, and he goes, hopefully this group will feel the same way. Get the growing pains in this year and then have a successful next couple seasons.
Sure. I mean, it starts with those quality seniors that we have that have shown the way, and then that moves right to, this junior and sophomore class. That our junior class has 30-plus members in it right now, all contributing on Friday nights, making plays. That sophomore group, we have plenty of sophomores that are either starting games, working at depth positions, or finishing games because of a variety of reasons. So we definitely are going to be battle tested after this season with a lot of guys. I told our players, once before, this was a couple weeks ago, the group that's going to be returning, there's not a type of football game they haven't been in now.
Right.
We've been in games this year where we've been able to maintain leads and win games, score a lot of points against opponents, lose leads, come back to tie games, need stops. You name it, on the road, at home. We've been through just about any type of game that you possibly can imagine. So certainly I would agree with Matthew from that standpoint. And there, as I said, there's levels, to the process, and certainly we're going through that right now. And I can't say enough though how proud I am of the people that we have in our program. And here's the bottom line: as I told our seniors, we're going to Crispin Field on Friday nights. We're playing the Berwick Bulldogs. If you can't get up for that, probably shouldn't be playing the sport.
Right.
So we're excited to be able to play in this rivalry game, as I'm sure Berwick is as well, and Coach Orlando, his staff, they'll have their players ready. We're assuming it's their senior night, given their last home game of the season. So, for our seniors too, I said, it's kind of a farewell for us, and we're going to, go in and compete, and we're excited for the Challenge Friday.
And before we get to that trip to Berwick, as Coach mentioned, so many different scenarios that this team has been through on the road against a very athletic team in Williamsport. Let's get a look at some of those highlights.
We start here with Brady Mazenko making a big-time run for us, getting us to midfield as he's done all year.
And here we go with a little screen pass.
One thing that we didn't mention is Freddie Corrado, our freshman quarterback, made his first start on the road this past Friday. A great throw and a great play there by Hunter Johnson.
And here we'll see a touchdown, and we'll get a look at it twice. Sorry, Coach.
No, that's okay. Xander Coleman here goes over the top of the pile. This ends up tying the game up 7-7.
Now we'll get a look at play action and another screen, and we'll look at this one twice as well.
You talk about the poise, the moxie of Freddie Corrado, 15 years old, making his first start at Millionaire Stadium here. Great throw on a screen. You see Brian Calcano, Peter Youngcourt working upfield. Brady Mazenko does a great job of getting north.
And a direct snap run here by, I believe, Freddie Corrado there.
Absolutely. How about this throw here then by Freddie Corrado to Riley Van Gilst on a bounce route. Riley does a great job after being able to catch the football, working north now, and finds his way into the end zone. You talk about the selflessness of our team. You see Brian Diaz working downfield to be able to make a block to spring Riley for a touchdown.
And here's the big 70-yard touchdown to Riley.
Sure. Xander Coleman here in a package that we put in this week on a jump pass to Riley Van Gilst for a 70-yard touchdown. We knew we would have this look off of this from Williamsport. Had this in our pocket for the second half. Riley Van Gilst here then showcases the speed that he has and able to find the end zone for a second touchdown of the night.
And the last offensive play, we'll go back to the passing game.
Freddie Corrado, once again, a great throw here on a wheel route to Xander Coleman. Made big-time throws throughout the night was Freddie.
And here we'll see a nice defensive play on the running game.
A lot of white jerseys to the football. Well, that was the case time and time again on Friday night. J.C. Peralta setting the edge on the play before, Ashton Carlick on this play.
And here the quarterback is going to be brought down.
Caleb Williamson is one of the best quarterbacks in District 2 statistically. We're able to keep him penned up for most of the night.
And here we'll look at this twice. A nice play by Ashton Carlick.
Absolutely. One of those sophomores we talk about who's getting better and better every single week. Game experience, there's no substitution for it. Ashton has just really come on in the second half of the year. Very proud of him.
And as I look at the highlight sheet, the last three plays, team defense to the right, to the left, and then his stuff in the middle.
Absolutely. Peter Youngcourt here. How about him able to trap the trapper there on counter? Does a great job. You see him once again here making another play. You talk about those seniors that we have. They're so important to us because there aren't many on the field, but the ones that are, they're high quality, not only players, but high quality young men. And they're helping some of these young guys come along. As we said, I mean, we have a freshman starting at quarterback this past Friday. You wouldn't know by the way he played. Just really, really proud of Freddie. Proud of everybody around him, too, that made his job easier because of our protection, the run game that we had, our defense, the way we played. So, I mean, when you have someone like Peter Youngcourt who had to step up in a different role even than he anticipated when the season started with Robbie Anderson going down, he's become the heart and soul of our team, the emotional leader, and also the guy who makes plays on the field.
And I think it's good, and then we've seen it all season long, and I know you like it a lot when you see a lot of, as it was Friday night, white jerseys to the ball. It just shows the relentlessness of your team and not packing it in. You know that you've signed up for 10 weeks in this season, and you're going to play 10 weeks, and you've seen that a lot from your team.
Sure. I mean, that's I truly, and I know it may sound cliche, but that really is the culture of our program. Whether it's week 1, week 10, whether we're 1-0, 10-0, 0-10, whatever the case may be. We talked about this before. Every person who comes into the field house every day is excited to get better together, excited for the next challenge ahead. We never give in, never give up. You'll never see anybody in the scarlet and silver, packing it in, whether it's in a game, in a season, whatever the case may be. And I think we've displayed that each week. We've collectively, as a team, and also you're seeing players individually here, continuing to grow and develop. And so a lot of young guys. I mean, multiple sophomores, a freshman, juniors who are starting to get game experience. Even some of the seniors that are on the field. Like people don't realize Brady Mazenko, the year he's having, it's his first year playing offense for us, and really his first time playing football in 2 seasons now. And you wouldn't know it by the way that he physically brings it every single Friday night. But that's just kind of the mentality that we feel we've created here. And it's a testament to our players, our coaches, our players' family, and I think our overall community that we've adopted that mentality here where, whenever we're blessed to be together and compete, we're going to go out and compete.
We're going to take another timeout, and we'll have timeout coming up with Ryan, joined by Dr. John. And then after that, Coach and I will be joined by number 3, Riley Van Gilst. It's coming up as Sports Talk continues here on WYLN.
Sports Talk is presented in cooperation with Lehigh Valley Health Network, Hazleton.
Welcome back to Timeout. I'm here with Dr. John. Dr. John, how's it going?
Great, Brian. How you doing today, buddy?
Fantastic. The season's almost over, so we're going to talk a little bit about how important it is to take care of yourself, because athletes, normal people, everyone has to take care of themselves.
I'm amazed, Ryan. Every day, people will put air in their tires, change the oil on their cars, wax it, put it in the garage, but every day I get patients or athletes who just have poor habits. They don't sleep well, they might drink and smoke and have a poor diet, so much of what you do now to your body will determine, Ryan, not just your performance as an athlete, but how you're going to be when you're 60 and 70. So good habits now: 7 hours of sleep, 8 for girls, keep the weight down, not too much alcohol, no smoking, no drugs, try to exercise, keep your mind positive. All those things besides chiropractic are important part of a formula in being productive as an athlete, having longevity in life, and having a beautiful life as time goes on.
Yeah, definitely. And, just going off of athletes, how important is it for them to have good habits? Because if you mess something up, then it could really harm you for the rest of your life.
I think most people don't realize these athletes, what you see on TV, let's say last night when the Eagles won, it's not just right now. What they do in the off season, what they do 24 hours a day, 365, these are our elites. So even high school athletes, what they do in the off season, you always hear that they go to the gym and they're lifting weights. they should also talk about, hopefully they are not partying, they're taking proper vitamins, and so any athlete on the field has better performance in high school and less injuries by what they do in the off season. So any good athlete has to be disciplined to keep all those good habits all year long.
Yep, the off season is just as important as the regular season.
It is to prevent injuries.
Yep, I'd like to thank Dr. John for joining us on the segment of Time Out. We'll see you next time.
Sports Talk is presented in cooperation with Lehigh Valley Health Network, Hazleton.
Welcome back to Sports Talk here on WILN, your weekly source for Hazleton area high school football. On my other end is head coach Dennis Buchman of the Hazleton area football Cougars, and in the middle, as promised, number 3, Riley Van Gilst is the guest this week here on Sports Talk. And Riley, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about from the start of the season to this point. We're heading into week number 10, the regular season finale. From the uncertainty and trying to find your way, just as a lot of your teammates were, to make your mark on this team, if you will, at the beginning of the season, and now here you are, week number 10, coming off a 2-touchdown game.
Yeah, in the beginning of the season, we had a lot of guys where we needed to build up. Comparing to last year, we had a bunch of seniors who left, and it was a long break we had, and we had to come back and really work this whole off season. And now mid-season, coming off of a loss. But this week really got to come and beat Berwick.
Let's before we get back to your offensive game Friday night, let's talk about you on special teams. Very impressed with your approach as far as especially kickoff returns. You get in and it's just straight ahead, straight up the middle. No dancing from side to side. You're just going straight ahead, trying to get as many yards as you possibly can. And I think with that success, we started to see as the season went along, teams didn't want to kick deep.
Yeah, as soon as I get that ball in my hands, I really just got to get as many yards as I can. Coach Perk always says, can't be dancing around back there. It's all just get upfield, get as many yards as we can for offense, drive down the field.
And talk about, we see you a lot on defense as well in that secondary. Coaches talked about, especially defensively, for the amount of injuries you guys have had, and you have to mix and match. Just talk about how you have to be prepared for when your number is called, and maybe also be prepared that you may have to switch a position.
In the beginning of the year, I didn't really play on defense. I was mostly a second-string guy, and then we had some rotations in, and then I got called up to defense. Really had to step in, make some plays on defense.
And then let's get to the offense. We've seen you getting into the end zone the last couple weeks, and especially last week coming off that 2-touchdown game. On your first touchdown, the thing that really impressed me was, as it seemed like you came across the middle and got to that sideline, it seemed like you had a burst of speed that maybe those Williamsport defenders weren't ready for.
Yeah, as soon as Freddie Corrado threw the ball right to me, I just had to get that ball and turn upfield, go right to north.
And a young man that is becoming Mr. Versatile as far as touchdowns. Xander Coleman went from having touchdown receptions to touchdown runs to now a touchdown pass. Talk about this play design, and to me, I would be so nervous being that much behind the defenders all by myself that I'd end up dropping the ball. Just talk about the concentration you had and then creating that big play.
The beginning of the play, when I'm lining up right against these big guys, big defensive linemen, and great play calling by Coach, and really just got around that edge, saw green, watched Xander throw the ball right to me, and really had to concentrate on that ball falling right in my hands, and just got north and really turned the Jets on.
Now let's talk about the finale. You want to finish strong, going to Berwick to take on the Bulldogs, but also you want this to be a springboard for next year when so many of you, and not only you, but your teammates have seen such a significant role this season to get you guys ready come 2024. Talk about how you want Friday night to be a springboard for next season.
Yeah, this is our last game of the season right now, and we really got to get our seniors out going good. We really got to win this game for our seniors and for these underclassmen to really get this last game just before the off season to get a really good spring and really just get this off season started for next year.
Well, Riley, thank you so much. Great season so far to this point. Hoping for a successful finish at Berwick. And thanks for joining us this week on Sports
Thank
Talk.
you for having me.
We talk the Berwick Bulldogs right after this break. You're watching Sports Talk, brought to you by the Lehigh Valley Orthopedic Institute.
Sports Talk is presented in cooperation with Lehigh Valley Health Network, Hazleton.
Welcome back to Sports Talk, your weekly source for Hazleton area high school football regular season finale. Can you believe it, fans? And it'll be here on WILN Friday night at 7 from Crispin Field. And Coach, you mentioned it a little bit earlier. I know we've talked off air. You used to go to Crispin Field as a boy to go and see the Berwick Bulldogs. You've played there. You've coached there. I equate it to Mart's Hall as one of those cathedrals in high school sports in our area. It's just a very special place. There's a lot of ghosts that creep in and out of Crispin Field.
Absolutely. When you talk about the players that have played there, the teams that have played there, certainly Coach Curry, who I consider the greatest coach in Pennsylvania history. You talk about a venue, not only as I talk to our players, not only is it recognized throughout the state, but throughout the country as one of those places that is just an incredible place to be able to play and coach. And, we're excited to be able to go to Crispin Field Friday. It's a really difficult place to play and get a win. But, as I said, we really look forward to the challenge on Friday.
Now, when Berwick has the ball, both Lear and Winter last week went over the 100-yard mark. What do you find concerning about their offense?
Certainly it starts with the quarterback and Ethan Lear. Winter does a great job of running the football. And you know what? They have guys on the edges that I don't think get enough credit either, between, Braylon Hawkins and the younger Kishbaugh. And there's guys all over the place. And once again, it's Berwick football. It starts up front, for them. So there's a lot that concerns us, because when you have a quarterback like Ethan Lear who can hurt you with his legs, but also is more than a competent thrower and can make all the throws at each level, it starts there. So, they present a lot of challenges for not only us, but any team they play, as we saw this past Friday, scoring almost 30 points in their game. They have a lot of dynamic playmakers all over the field in all three phases.
And then what do you look for when you have the football?
Defensively, Berwick this year going to more of an odd front, 3-4 defense, allowing them to be able to blitz at different levels on the field and from depth. They, and rightfully so, put their back half guys in situations where they feel like they can play man coverage at times and be able to go true cover zero because of the athletes that they have. And they're really active and disruptive up front at the defensive line positions. So, it's kind of the same mindset on both sides of the football, and even in the kicking game, where you have to be really cognizant and aware of where guys are at each level, because they do have playmakers that are really dynamic at all three phases.
Well, Coach, we know it's a big rivalry game. We've talked about how special Crispin Field is. Here's hoping to finish the season off with a W.
Thank you so much. Go Cougars.
Go Cougars.
So for Riley Van Gilst, head coach Dennis Buchman, I'm Marty Burns saying so long. Join us next week for another edition of Sports Talk. And as always, it's brought to you by the Lehigh Valley Orthopedic Institute.